And now we'll finish the letter, okay? In addition, Dick, I would greatly, greatly appreciate you or whoever sending a donation to the center. Let me briefly explain the urgency. I currently owe the Ohio Bell $650 in phone bills. They have been most understanding and patient and allowed me to April 2nd to pay the bill on the phone, or the phone will be disconnected. I do not want this to occur. I do not want to establish a bad credit rating and so forth. I don't know. I don't think he sent me the check. Also, I have a $350 bill with Cleveland Copy Service. They also have been very understanding, and they will, I should say, their bosses will not allow them to print any more things until our bill is paid. In short, we desperately need $1,000 before April 2nd. And if I ever needed a friend to believe and trust and help in me, I sure need one now. And since I'm sure that you are at least a little familiar that many of the problems I'm currently facing financially is due to my affiliation with the Highway Safety Foundation, especially in this Cleveland area. I am very much hoping you will not let me down. Again, when you receive that booklet within a few days, you'll understand more. However, I need the money immediately. Please, please trust me. I will anxiously look forward for the mailman's visit later this week. I say to say I was determined and forceful, I guess, was an understatement. P.S. Dick, starting this summer, those safety towns that we organize are sending 25 cents per child to organization, just like the Girl Scouts and any other organization, so we can be self-sustaining. Okay. So, I don't know how many different attempts we made. Now I finally got these in order. And this is going to be that's definitely going to go into our permanent safety town file. Okay. Now okay. Now we found this folder. And this I'm just going to keep for the old museum. It has Bill Cosby, first folder that we made for Cosby. This was at the end of 1974 when we started discussing, when we found out Sammy Davis was not going to be involved with our organization or any organization because he just had a bad taste in his mouth. We started to make a folder. This was the first folder we used. And in there it has Fran Shields. Fran was his right-hand person, probably executive secretary wouldn't be the right word, but I guess that's what the title was at the time. I had her home office and her home phone number, her office number, and then had Bill Cosby's address at 205 Hill Street in Santa Monica, California, corner of Hill and Main, and his number was there at the time. So that's going to be in the museum piece too. Okay, now that we were forming our own nonprofit organization, we had to get what people told us was a board of trustees. And one thing I learned from Dick Wayman, he told me, he said, Dorothy, have the smallest possible board members that you can have. I guess that was the problem with his. They got too large, too many members, and people didn't vote. He was losing the control of what he wanted to do. So I found out the least you had to have was 3. So we had myself, Frank, and Mr. Hoppy. Okay? And this is what this is all about on, where do we have this here? One person who also was very involved and later became on our board when we increased it to 5 members was Marv Wagner, who knew about Safety Town and of course was very familiar with the federal government. But at the time he could not in '74 work for us or be on our board because he was still a member of NHTSA, and he was not allowed as a government employee to serve in that capacity, from what I understood. This is July 27th, 1974. Dear Dorothy, and it's from Marv Wagner. I enjoyed very much our meeting with Dr. Brown and the representatives of the National Safety Town Center last week. I still think that a more active involvement of the council would be the best thing for both yourself and the center if we could get the National Safety Council involved. We tried that. Enclosed, please find the expenses incurred in this trip to Chicago. In addition to the airfare, there was the bus fare to and from the airport totaling $7.80, parking for the airport $7, a total of $132.07. So I had to pay for my members to come in and have, as I said, he was not at that time a trustee, but he gave us a lot of input and gave Hoppy and some of the other people involved some background of what I had to go through, because he'd been with me since I met him in 1968. But anyway, just like a businessman, you know, they wanted to get paid for this. Some people did it, but I had to pay some of the people. I had to pay. Okay. Another person that we involved in our initial meetings and organizing the organization was Fred Pappenfuss, because he was so involved with the Veterans of Safety and what they had done to me. We asked him, this is a letter, I asked him to attend a meeting as well. And the letter was another one. This was the big, okay. This is a letter we sent out to, see, there's so much duplication here. This all has to be stapled together. Stapled together. Okay. But we're going to get there. Here's one. October 14th, 1974. This was a letter that I wrote to Dr. Brown. Again, he was, when we went from 3 to 5 members, which we had to do, we included Marv Wagner and Dr. Brown. And Marv Wagner, I believe at that time, left the agency and went on to start his own travel company and so forth. All right. Dr. Brown was superintendent of schools of Aurora, Illinois at that time. Used to be the superintendent of Bedford schools for many years in Cleveland. In Bedford. Okay, dear Dr. Brown, last Thursday evening, several Safe Town directors met to discuss the future of the center. The things were decided starting next spring. Each parent would pay 25 cents per child, and each director of Safe Town will contact business and industry for contributions from their local communities to us. Now, we thought that would be a great idea to have local directors in Michigan and Pennsylvania and so forth, have them go out and contact their corporations and located in their hometown to send money for the center. We found several things wrong with that later on. We didn't know at the time, but number one, these people, again, were not professional fundraisers. The companies, the large companies that were based in, let's say, Ford Motor in Detroit, were not familiar with us. We're a very small organization, just starting. They had heard about the Highway Safety Foundation. It was just almost impossible to get money from local little communities to send to another city for another organization. Just did not work out that way. That's why you need professional fundraising people. Okay, this was January 18th and 19th. We had a meeting at the Sheraton Cleveland Hopkins Airport, all Safety Town State Chair people. It was our first annual meeting. This included our board members. For several months now, you have heard me talk about planning a meeting for all of us to get together to discuss the many aspects of Safety Town program and the National Safety Town Center. It was my original intent to have the center pay your expenses for this meeting. This is the reason why the meeting was not scheduled earlier, because I was hoping a corporation or business would absorb the cost. However, I've been unable to accomplish this at this time. We have now reached a point that makes it imperative to have this meeting as soon as possible to provide you with the proper materials and information to keep you up to date with procedures. Since many of you have several speaking engagements after the first of the year, it is extremely important that uniform guidelines be established so that each state chairperson is basically promoting and emphasizing the same principles and standards. That was so crucial. Since the center unfortunately cannot pay your expense at this time, it is hoped that you can either personally pay your expense or obtain money from a business and so forth. Again, I would like to stress the extreme importance of this meeting. Okay, and we did have quite a few, most of them from Ohio, a few from, I think, Michigan, and maybe one or two from Illinois, but again, people didn't have the money. It sounded like a small amount of money, but it was a lot of money that time. Okay, this is April 3rd from 1975 from Dr. Frank Brown, Dorothy Schland. The teenage instructors recruited on a volunteer basis find the preschool children exceptionally responsive to them. They in turn become generous and dedicated in their service and find the activity wholesome and satisfying. Parents are most grateful. The program has tremendous appeal to them. It is affordable and provides a helpful means of starting them on a continuous effort in stressing safety consciousness within the family. All in all, a properly run new concept safety town is a very fine thing. It involves a lot of people, enables various public agencies to work together cooperatively in educational sound, and fulfills a number of useful services. The National Safety Town Center needs the support of all service organizations represented. The more help it receives, the better it can grow and develop. Identification with the Safety Town movement has already brought favorable attention their way. I can foresee nothing but pride of accomplishment and genuine appreciation for continuing efforts in supporting or sponsoring our young but vigorous National Safety Town Center. All best wishes for a successful meeting. I will be anxious to hear how it goes. Okay. Okay, that was on April 3rd. Oh, that was page 2. I'm sorry, I should have read the first page of this. He sent me a letter on April 3rd that we had another meeting. Let me just read it from Dr. Brown. I'm very sorry I will be unable to attend the meeting with the presence of national organizations on April 17th due to my prior commitment to attend the National School Boards Association meeting at Miami at that time. First of all, an educator with a direct experience in safety town observation, I am convinced it is extremely effective safety education for the preschool age child. The unique format of safety town is especially appealing and effective for the preschooler. Obvious this is the most important service. Not to be overlooked, however, are some of the very real important side benefits of the program. He wrote this was the second page of this letter. Should have been stapled. We're going to be there. We'll get them all together. Okay. That was the meeting of April 17th we had with the presidents. I sent a letter to president of just about every organization. We did a lot of research. I don't know what interns or what people I had go to the library and get me the listing of all the organizations, Jaycees, Kiwanians, Rotarian, Pilot Club, Seroptimus, and so forth. Red Cross, and sent them all letters to the president asking them to come and hear about Safety Town and that type of thing. We had to cancel it because I only think we had one or two that were coming, and they were local people. Just could not get people interested. Okay. Better to go this way. Okay, this is the agenda that we had for the January 18th meeting at the airport. We had the breakfast and guest speaker, child development as relates to safety capabilities, I talked, and so forth. So that was the first annual meeting that we had with the board, January 18th and 18th and 19th. Then the second one was on March 29th at Sheraton Hopkins, again at the same place. It was easy for people to fly in, like Marv and Dr. Brown and other coordinators to fly in from other chairpersons. At that time we called them chairpersons. Later on I changed it to coordinators. And procedures and policies were the organizations that had been invited. This is all the organizations that were invited for that April meeting. JC's, Kiwanis, Optimus, Lions Clubs, Veterans of Safety, Physicians for Automotive Safety, all invited. And unfortunately, they did not appear. It just didn't take hold. Okay, now that goes into 70, March, April. Okay. This is March 17th, 1975. Dear President, recently you received a letter from me informing of our organizing a meeting to be held on March 29th. Because the date turns out to be Easter Sunday, we are rescheduling it to April 17th. Again, that was just unfortunate that working so fast, we didn't take the time to double check the calendar, and when you work that fast, you make mistakes. And that's what we did. We made mistakes. Okay. I'm going to get this all together. January, April. Okay, here we go. Now we're together. Now this is March 17th and April. Take a minute and get it done, and we won't have to go through this again. There we go. Now, one thing we definitely decided to do once we had the organization formed and we were sending out information and we had gone through the copyright, we officially became an organization on April 29th, 1974. That's when we received our official notice from Washington that we had applied for it. So, and Herb Hoppy and Don Otto have all that information. I have probably copies in the office as well. But one thing we were told constantly to do is, because the Highway Safety Foundation had the copyright on all of our books, it said Copyright Highway Safety Foundation. We had to, they said, make sure you publicize the program is copyrighted and registered. And it was up to us to protect it. We had to keep telling people that. So what we did is, on the back of almost, for a long time, on the back of our letters, we always, not to a general letter, but to like coordinators and so forth, we would put this on, okay? Just for example, this one said, Dear Concerned Safety Friend, we were delighted to receive your inquiry regarding Safety Town, and we thank you for your request. We are very optimistic that you will be just enthusiastic in the program as we are. This was going out to just the regular people who wrote in and said we're interested in Safety Town. And then it said, P.S. Please read attached copyright regulations very carefully. Okay? And then the copyright regulations were simply, since all material is copyrighted, with all rights reserved with the United States Patent and Copyright, the following must be followed by you. No duplication of any kind. Should you wish to use information to prepare for your own local booklet, a written permission is first required, and then a credit line must be given. And then there's credit line listing. Okay, and then trademarks, our logo, Clancy, and the stop sign are registered with the United States. No duplication of any kind is required, Board of Trustees. And that we had to do all the time. All the time. Okay. There are several of these letters that we sent at different times, and I'm just amazed at how many of these letters we sent out and didn't put dates on them. I'm just overwhelmed. This we instituted, I probably think the end of 75, somewhere around there. I'm not sure, there's no date on it. But what we were doing is, anyone that wrote into the center, we were sending them a free packet of information. The Safety Town booklet, remember, that showed the red and white booklet, the stop sign, and then some basic information inside. And I probably have a basic packet somewhere at home in Ohio. And it said, Dear Concerned Safety Friend, thank you for your inquiry about the Safety Town program. Now, what we did, we sent that out for so long, and we were getting duplications from the same community. Maybe 4 or 5 people from the same community requesting information, and our policy was to have one program for a community. Not every nursery school or whatever. We wanted it to be sponsored by a civic organization for the entire community. So we decided to send letters to, let's say, if we sent a letter, if someone wrote into us from Akron, Ohio, we'd send that person a request. If we got another request within a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever from Akron, Ohio, we would send the second person this letter saying, in checking through our files, we have found a complete packet of materials has already been sent to, and then we'd give the person the name of the first person we sent the packet to, because we had them on index cards in the file. So, and plus they were a complimentary packet. This was the 6 guidebooks, okay? We said we did this for 2 reasons. It eliminates the duplication of efforts within the community. In the past, several organizations were all planning to build a safety town, each working in a different direction, not aware that the other one was working on the project. Number 2, that particularly happened in Parma, by the way, in other places, but Parma was the first that brought our attention to it. Number 2, our complimentary packet consisting of 6 guidebooks, a total of 275 pages. Therefore, you can understand the expense involved. I just can't believe I was so dumb to send these books out free for so long. But I did. Okay. And there's another copyright regulations that went with that on the back. And again, this went with it, a National Safety Town Center service policy to local communities. Okay, 1 complimentary Safe Town packet per community. What our state directors would do in helping them, state and district directors. And it would have visitations and seminars and so forth. So that was all explained. March 10th, 1975. Dear Individual Safety Town Director, recently you received a copy of the first Safety Town newsletter published by National Safety Town Center. After reading that, we hope you're just as excited as we are. Not only about having our own newsletter, but much more importantly, our own national organization. I must stress that word, our own. Okay, and then I just told them that being with an organization now that they can feel they're a part of something and not hanging loose or being out in left field, not knowing where to go and not having any guidelines and assistance. And that's really what I wanted to do, is just gel all these people together. Unfortunately, we couldn't, at first we did a lot, and we just couldn't keep it together because it was growing so fast. We were getting so many requests from local communities, and then more and more requests were put on by the state and district directors for information, and we didn't have people back at the office to supply that, to prepare it. You need to make the movies, you need to do all these things. Okay? And this is great news. Please send the center the date and time of your opening day ceremonies so we could give them the plaques, beautiful plaques. And this is remember we said the 25 cents per child. More great news. Each of the above items will be given to each child attending your Safety Town this summer. The above items are just 3 of the many items and services that will be provided for your center through the 25 cent per child fee. Okay, so for 25 cents per child, each child received a balloon, a coloring book, and a bumper sticker. And somewhere in here, now hold on, I think, now here it is, there it is. How about this? I can finally put my hands on it. There. Okay. Here is the coloring book. Okay. Safety Town coloring book. Okay, I'll hold it up. Very basic. And then we had the bumper sticker. We first came out with this, but then we went to this, and then we had the balloon. Okay. Now, I'm going to put that back because, well, we sent this out to our people in March, just sending them an outline. This was not really developed until later in July, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But then we had still more great news. Okay, and we followed a theme there. What was the first one? It said great news, then more great news, and still more great news was about our Clancy t-shirt. Okay, that we were going to sell. And now here's the news you've been waiting for. That is, those of you who have seen the t-shirt have been constantly asking Dorothy when would it be available. It is made by Champion, top quality, double stitched, pre-shrunk, and so forth. Price $2.25, color white with red around the neck and sleeves. Okay, ideas that safety towns have suggested for the shirts: increase the registration fee and give the child a shirt, sell the shirt for a fundraising project, or obtain local funds from corporations to give it to the child. And then we still have even greater news. Even greater news, okay. For our teenagers, for our teenage instructor shirts. And those sold for $2.95. And here they are, right here. Okay. This was an important piece of piece of paper that went out, legislative paper. Even greater news, and we still have great news. And this was pictures of the cars. Okay. This was the cars were always a problem. Purchasing cars have been a major problem for so many communities. Well, now you can save a great deal of time and money. The center has made arrangements for you to order your cars directly through the center. They will handle all details for you, including delivery at your doorstep. Two types of cars were the hugger and the pedal car. Now, I had gone through New York, I think this is mentioned in the videotape number 1, to the toy manufacturing, and went through, I think there were 14 floors, and I think I went through all of them looking for different cars. My feet were never so sore in my life. We sold these cars for $20 a piece, and after we found the car, these types of cars, this one we found out was not large enough for the kids. The kids would sit on the back and it would topple over. And this one they discontinued. So we had a problem immediately. That didn't last very long. One summer I think we had with that. But that was a big piece of information for us. Let me show you while I have it here on the t-shirts. Now the t-shirts were red and white. Okay, I have this here. This is something we never expected. We started sending out the Clancy t-shirts. See how nice they were? Well, that's what they look like original, okay? We were getting them back this way with the red bleeding because it had a certain type of dye in it that when it was washed incorrectly, it would bleed. And people were furious. Now, even though it said the directions, machine wash warm, people called and said, we washed it in cold water. You're supposed to wash red in cold water. Red doesn't bleed in cold water. And even though we told them wash them in warm water, they didn't. We had so many complaints. I think we had this for 2 years. And the first year we didn't have too many complaints, but the second year I think they started really a lot of complaints, and we discontinued that. Now, this still has a person's name on it. It looks like Jessica Loft or Toft, and then they sent in a shirt back this way. Now, I don't know how this came, this orange or whatever, but we were getting these back. And we said something has to be done about it, so we eliminated the red and just made the shirts plain white. White, and then we went to the yellow as well later on. But, oh, what a problem this was. You can't imagine the nasty phone calls, the nasty letters. You talk about PR people. I needed a staff of about 4 just to work on that project. People were very upset. And even though you tell them the directions, please read the directions, they say, well, no. You know, everyone knows you're supposed to wash anything in red and cold water. So, that was that. Now, as I said, there's usually a little bit of humor that would pipe up once in a while. This looks like this was, looks like Friday, January 3rd, 1975. We're going to have to put this in the right slot here. In Cleveland, our Ohio legislatures really weren't too bright, I guess, at one time. It says, Ohio legislators, first let me read our fearless legislators take on tykes. Our fearless legislators take on tykes for trikes. Okay? Now that was on the first page. And right above there, it says the life of crime. Ohio's new traffic safety laws, which went into effect on January 1st, make it illegal to ride bicycles and tricycles on the sidewalk. This was in Rocky River. Okay? And this was done by Dick Fagler, who's, I just admired him. He has a great sense of humor and always wrote a great article. In fact, I met with him and I told him what happened in Safety Town. This was like in the early 75 when I was at the terminal. I used to ride the train from Solon to terminal. And he lived out, I think, in Aurora. And he would drive to Solon and we'd ride on the train once in a while. And I told him about it and I said, could you write something about it? And he said the only way he could was with a sense of humor to sort of mock it and make fun out of it, out of the whole situation. Not of our Safety Town, but the Highway Safety Foundation and all. And I just felt at that time, the less we said about any publicity probably in the media, the better. So, but a very interesting article, and so we had to laugh about it. But this is one of the things, again, I had to take time from this, send letters to our legislators, and try to get them to, of course, change the law, which they did because people were complaining about it. Unbelievable. Okay, we have 2 pages of that. Okay, this is duplication again. Okay, and remember I said we sent letters to our local people asking them to send letters out to contributions, and this is one of them that we sent with an envelope. Yes, I would like to support the activities of the National Safety Town Center. I pledge the following, and that type of thing. And we said that we would list their names in a book, so forth. We tried just about every. These are just more copies of this, which I don't need right now. April 4, 1975. This is correspondence from a Charles M. Rusnick, Jr., Major of the U.S. Air Force, Chief of Transportation, Bolling Air Force Base in D.C. Gentlemen, as the Chief of Transportation of Bolling Air Force Base, I am responsible for busing dependent school children. I've read in the past copy, September 74, Women's Day, that your organization has information on how groups can start a safety town for a small amount of money. And that's how we started getting into the military bases. Okay, now, once we had the shirts and the coloring books and the balloons and different things, we thought, let's start doing something on consignment. Now, a lot of people didn't know what consignment was, but we had a form. The form was used first year in 1975, states it right here. They put their name, address, how many Clancy shirts they wanted, children and adults, Safety Town instructor shirts. Now, even then, even at this time, I still didn't learn business. I sent everything out on consignment. Nobody had to pay for this. What they sold, and they sent the money back. So we really didn't have any upfront money to work with. And then once we got this back, we would say, thank you for your consignment order, which is enclosed. Please note that we have included a set of puzzles. We did this because of the numerous excellent comments we received from parents. We did come out with a puzzle, and I'll show you that now in just a minute here. The puzzle should be, where is my little puzzle? Okay. This is the puzzle that we designed, okay? Now, this was the puzzle, and then we had an envelope printed so the children could have the envelope here and look at the puzzle pieces and figure out where to go. And also we had the big posters. These were large posters blown up that we did probably, I think, the next year we had the posters blown up. Now, I don't know if you can see this or not. This was the actual thickness of the puzzle. And it's the indentation of how many pieces. Let's see, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12 pieces. Now, I had to do a lot of research with this. I observed children in different nursery schools in different age groups, whether to use a 12-piece puzzle, 16, 18, or whatever. And we just watched children put them together. And we used a lot of other puzzles, puzzles just from the regular store, 12 pieces, to see how long it would take them to do it. We didn't want them to get frustrated doing it. Now, when these came from the printer, and this is explained on videotape number 1, these were so thin, and this is the thickest that Dick Evans could put through his press, that we had to buy an extra plain sheet of this. And my mother, bless her, now you have to remember, this was printed on this. I don't have it here, but I have it in the office. This was printed on here, okay, so the children could see the puzzle. But what my mother did is she took Elmer's glue and around here, I think she did like 20,000 of them. And she had to, because there were 4 puzzles, 5,000 each is 20,000. She glued all around and put it up. Put this on top of the other one, so when the kids took it out, there would be the a heavier thing to put on underneath. Unbelievable. Unbelievable mistakes. Okay. We can put this over here. We don't need this right now. What is this here? Okay, I don't know what year we came out with this. Doesn't have a year on this. Nice to see we weren't the only ones, but someone said we should work with Operation Red Ball, with the fire departments, and have this put in the window, every child's bedroom, and have one for every child in that bedroom. So if there was a fire at night, or any time during the day, mainly at night, I guess, that the firemen would know that the children were in this, and there were 2 or 3 children in that room. Now the problem with that is that many parents told me that sometimes a child would get up in the middle of the night with a toothache or not feel well. They would bring him in the bed, or they would sleep with him out in the living room on the sofa. And here's this fireman, sees 3 little red ball stickers on the window, goes in there, only finds 2 children, and can't find the other one. So this was a problem. It was a nice idea at first, but all practicality, I'm not sure, went over that well. Now remember those nice cars that we showed you that we had, Safety Town cars? We wanted to have signs put on them, which we did, National Safety Town Center official car, because we wanted to have an official car. And this fit right on the side of the car. So we had that done. Anything anyone suggested, it seems like we just went ahead and did it, okay? Okay. This is people involved in helping me through the years, and I think we have that, okay. Now, I'm going to do a whole video, I'm sure it'll be at least one video, on the newspaper publicity that we have received from day 1. But we have a few that have somehow gotten in between here, which is fine. I think that's great. This was news graphic in Grafton, Wisconsin on September 11th, 1974. And I think this is a very nice picture of me, by the way. Very young looking picture. I'm not sure if that was the wig or not. I used to wear a few wigs back in the 70s, mid-70s. Yeah, that was a wig. It was a very nice wig. But Safety Town Speaker Dorothy Schlatt, president of the Safety Town Center in Cleveland, is shown above to speak interested group to be held August 29th in Grafton. Her appearance and aid in setting up the Safety Town program was sponsored by the Grafton JCs. Now, when I arrived in this, I think this was Grafton, I'm almost sure, the airplane was landing. I've been fortunate of all the traveling. I've not had too many bad experiences in the air. One lightning storm one time flying from one of the southern states to Ohio. Lightning was all over the airplane, and we thought we'd never going to make it. We would never make it back home. But when this airplane was landed in Wisconsin, and it wasn't in Grafton, it was, yes, it was in Grafton. No, it was someplace close by because they drove me a little way, I think. But anyway, the airplane landed, and we looked out the window as we're landing. We looked out the window on another part of the runway, and there was another airplane and several fire departments and so forth. And I get off the airplane, and here's the photographer who has my name, Dorothy Schlatt, and I went up to him and I said, I'm Dorothy Schlatt, and he said, oh, I'm here to do an interview, for you and so forth. And I said, but there's the plane out there that's on fire, and they're putting out the fire. And he said, there are other people here. I'm assigned to you, and took me into a hotel, into the nearby hotel, and interviewed me and so forth. But I thought it was so exciting, and here he was there to do a story on me, and there's a plane with several fire departments out there trying to put out the fire of this plane. I don't think it wasn't. They were putting a lot of foam on, I think, for protective. I think it landed without the wheels opening or something. Excuse me. Okay. Now, after we started our organization, of course, we had the stationery with Clancy, and we always tried to update the names on the back of all of our people in doing that. Okay, and we thought that was very nice stationery. Now, again, here's some publicity. This one I just want to do because I thought this was, you have to remember, as I've often said, and Vince Toffney used to always tell me he just couldn't believe how I got all this publicity in newspapers and magazines and so forth, when the National Safety Council rarely got a lot of free publicity. They usually had to pay for some of their publicity. This is the Cleveland Press Community News. This was June 24th, 1975. And this is almost a whole page. Let me just pull it down here so you can see. I don't want to ruin this. It's getting old. This town's only business is safety. And this was in Cleveland. You have to remember the years, as explained on videotape number 1, how I tried from 1960, actually from about 68, to get Safety Town in Cleveland. And finally, Roland Kreitzberg was one of the police officers. Now, he didn't do a full Safety Town, but all he did is had the children line up, walked them around, talked to them about the traffic light and so forth, and had posters with the Safety Patrol with the AAA, because he was involved with the Safety Patrol, as many people were, or many communities, a great program. But that was taking top priority. But let me see if it even says anything about Safety Town. It just says safety. It's town surrounded by walls and covered by a roof. The inhabitants have a wide-eyed sub-4-footers with the keen interest of someday being healthy 5- and 6-year-olds. The business is safety, and their city is Safety Town. Okay? So they did have a little, must have had, doesn't show any pictures of little houses. Oh, yes it does, I'm sorry. Right back here, some little houses and a traffic light. So he had it indoor in a classroom, and he did take my advice, and he did have parents involved in parent classes, which is great. Okay, I'm trying to stay in 75 now, and I think that's all we'll do, because this is for later on for life, so we're not going to later on in life. Later on in years, we're going to put that one over here. Okay, now, this is more information that we had to send out. Let me move this around a little bit. More information we had to send out on what was involved, what was included in each manual. people wanted to know what was, so we had to say general information, organizational, curriculum thing, and write down what was involved in each of those. Okay. Now remember that nice coloring book I showed you? Okay. Originally, my daughter Lynn and her friend Jonna First were both artists, and Lynn was very good. She has an excellent picture that she did of the rock singer, one of her favorites. I said I'd never forget the man's name, and now I've forgotten it, but she did a beautiful pencil drawing of him, and I still would like to, if he ever sings at a concert, take it and have him autograph it for her, because she did such a wonderful job with it on it. Oh, I can't think of, he's a very famous rock singer. One of the ones that was very popular in the 70s. Cannot think of his name. Lynn, if you see this, you would know exactly who I'm talking about. Okay. But anyway, I said, Lynn, would you sit down and put together some ideas on what you think would be in a coloring book and so forth. And these are real rough sketches, but she and Jonna, I have here, Lynn and Jonna drew the pictures. I drew some stick figures. I drew the rough sketches and explained what I wanted. The coloring book, the finalized, was done by Marlene Sunheimer. I wrote the wording in spring of '75 in Westville. Company printed 15,000 of these for us in 1975. And that was the first page. And then I wanted one in the car with their safety belt on. I wanted one with the policeman. That wasn't too bad of a picture. Okay. And this was a teenager holding a railroad light with two children, so I didn't have a picture, I just told them what to do with it. And here's another picture. Anyway, you get the idea of some rough drafts that they did. Just rough sketches for me, but it helped, okay? That was the start of it. Then I met a young lady by the name of Marlene Sunheimer, and her dad was an executive with Standard Oil Company, or one of the big oil companies, I think, in Cleveland at the time. And she was the one who finally came up with, these are her drawings. You can see from, well, let me see here from this one. All right, let's show you the thing, okay? From this, gave her an idea to do this. Okay, we talked about it, I sat and talked with her, and that's what she came up with. All right? So, you have to have a starting point and then go from there. And she did an excellent job. Here's the teen I mentioned with the railroad crossing with the two children on the bicycle and so forth. Okay. And Marlene Sunheimer, and we gave her credit. The National Safe Town Center extends its appreciation and gratitude to Westville companies for printing this book and making it possible. We gave them, the first few years, we gave them free to everybody in the state. And special appreciation also extended to Marlene Sunheimer, Sundheimer, who volunteered her time in donating the artwork for this book. And we used that for many years. Okay. She was a very nice young lady. Very nice young lady. Now, we later, what is this one here? Okay. Once we got these coloring books, Frank and Lynn delivered the coloring books at our own expense to all the communities within, I won't say within Ohio, but mainly within the greater Cleveland area, because that's where we had most of our safety towns in the early 70s. And here is just a list of some of them. They had to find directions to get to the police department and drove at night, during the day. Unbelievable. I also did some too, but they would do a lot of it. They went to Parma, Brooklyn, Brook Park, Lakewood, Rocky River, Bay Village, Avon Lake, Westlake, Fairview Park, and they even had the people signed when they got the books. Brea was sergeant. I can't even read the names of some of these people. Bay Village was Lieutenant somebody or other, but anyway, and then they have here some of the directions. Take Lake Road to Route 83 and turn left. Awful lot of work. Okay, now that we have the organization, we have our board, and we wanted to, as I said, I just wanted to recognize these people for everything that they did, and we wanted to give them their opening day, give them a nice plaque on opening day. Big plaque. Okay, so we wrote a letter. Safety Town citation. Dear friends, congratulations on this special event, the official opening day of your Safety Town becoming, no, hold on. This is not. The official opening day of your Safety Town. Okay, this one's the wrong one. Okay. This citation represents our deepest appreciation to everyone in some way who became involved with your program. And I don't have a copy of the citation, but this was, I wanted to give them a plaque upon completion of their first year, I think it was. We'll have to check the specific date, and we'll have to add this in a little bit later, and we have the plaque at home, so we'll have to do some follow-up work with that. Here is the citation, a letter I would give them in a frame. This happens to be in New Hartford, New York, and I can't remember the gentleman's name because it's not on there. Okay. March 10th, 1975. Let's see how many. Through this letter, may I introduce myself? I am June Pfeiffer. I mentioned June before. My dear friend and librarian who helped a tremendous amount of time. I am a believer in Safety Town, having spent many hours helping Dorothy through the years. A strong supporter of Dorothy's and foremost, a very dear friend of hers. I met Dorothy in 1960, before she ever heard of Safety Town. We were neighbors. We have each moved, but distance has not separated our friendship, and I spend as much time as possible volunteering, assisting with center activities, one of which being writing the enclosed 2-page letter. Please sign your name and title, Director of State, in Xerox copies to your local people. We have been working very hard at the Safety Town Center, and Dorothy's been working around the clock to put together material for you. Now it's up to you to take over from here and be our salesmen and saleswomen. And from what Dorothy tells me, you are super salespeople. Let's get 100% of fervent response. This was that letter of sending out for $100, $200, $250 donations, which was not very, very successful. Okay, and here's the letter we sent out as well to our Safe Towns about the 25 cents per child and what they would get in return for that. Okay, what 25 cents per child will provide for the center. Look at all these things for 25 cents per child. I can't believe it. Services by the center at no charge to you. Obtain and compile information for semi-annual newsletter. Provide an identifying sign to your Safety Town, which was the citation. Balloons for children attending, bumper stickers, posters displayed before registration, which will help you. Those are the big posters that Prudential put for the consignment on the T-shirts. Personal assistance available to the available to contact the center by telephone anytime. They'd have a place to call for help. And visits by Safety Town people to help and performers like Tom and Oscar and Clancy and so forth. Services provided by the center at cost would be the films and making Clancy films, instructional films, the T-shirts and so forth. So all of that was explained. That was there. This is April 17th, 1975. This is from Andy Miller, who was our director of the state of Ohio for several years. Dear Safety Town friends, springtime has been the signal for the preparation of the Safety Town. In the past, spring has called into being the original and very successful Safety Town workshops held in Cleveland area since 1971. These workshops created, organized, and conducted by our own Dorothy Schladd with the excellent cooperation and assistance of participants of everyone who served as presiding chair people and speakers and recorders. This year, due to tremendous growth of the Safety Town program throughout the state of Ohio, National Safety Town Center is planning 5 workshops with the cooperation and assistance of Ohio Department of Highway Safety, Department of Education, the Ohio AAA, and the Safety Councils. And we went into Kent and Akron. Well, here's the list. We went into Hopkins Airport, Bowling Green, Imperial House in Central Ohio, Middletown, and Borough. So we were northeastern, central, southwestern parts of Ohio. Okay? And our fee was $20, and he was handling the one in the Akron area. What a nice man. He did a lot of work. A lot of work. Now, once we elected a chairperson, we sent them a very nice packet of information. This is just rough copy. Introduction. Congratulations on being selected chairman of the National Safety Town Center. Your efforts in establishing and promoting the Safety Town program will bring pleasure and enjoyment for many years, and for many hours in countless families through the prevention of needless accidents and heartache. Okay, so we explain what it is. I explained to him you are indirectly an employee of the National Safety Town Center. Your actions, manner of presentations are extremely important. People will form an opinion of everyone affiliated with the center by your manner. You are our public relations people. We know you will represent us proudly. I had to stress that over and over and over. You have to remember, a lot of these people were young. They never had classes and courses on how to do any of this, just from what we put together here. The purpose of the guidebooks, the responsibility that they had as state chairman, the duties as their state chairman, their visitation, their personnel records, the publicity they had to do, handle the workshops, do scrapbooks, just an awful lot of work. Okay. We saw this before. This was the order for the t-shirts. June 2nd, 1975. This is a letter from Don Otto to Herb Hoppe. We have been advised by the Patent and Trademark Office that the subject service mark was filed on May 14, 1975. We will write to you as soon again as if we heard anything further. This was for registering the clown design, Clancy's clown design. We didn't refer to him as the clown. He was your friend Clancy, but that's what they referred to him as. June 27, 1975. Dear Safety Town Director, encloses a sample of our Clancy t-shirt, which we received last Friday. Since Clancy's arrival, much excitement and so forth. And then we list the prices of the shirts, $250. And this was 75. They were $250 for children and $350 for adults. Okay. Okay. Now that we had the shirts and the, we had the shirts, we had the balloons and the coloring book and the puzzles. Now we thought, let's make a certificate for the children for graduation day. So this is what I came up with. Safety Town graduation certificate, because I wanted uniformity. Same child in California or New York graduating would get the same certificate. Safety Town's graduation, this certifies that has successfully completed the Safety Town program, the date, and then copyright National Safety Town Center, Think Safety. And there's 6 lines that I thought people could fill in, like the superintendent of schools and the mayor and the teacher and so forth. Well, this worked for a while, but then people wanted more lines. They wanted to have their title printed in underneath, because they're just blank right now. So we kept these for a few years, and then we went to another one that you'll see later. But we had this one for the graduation for the children. We have this one for the instructor. Okay, and again, they could sign as many names as they wanted to. Because what happened, they needed their title underneath, because a lot of people sign their names and they can't read them. So that's why they wanted all these things printed underneath. And we finally told them, make your own local ones, and then we in turn had our later ones from the Bill Cosby ones that you'll hear about a little bit later. But at this point, Bill Cosby wasn't with us as yet. Okay, and this, it states, you will never know how many lives you have saved or how many accidents you will prevent because of what you have taught the children. As an instructor, you are the backbone of our program. It is young people like you who are willing to give of yourself that have made our program so very successful. And I always meant that sincerely, always still do. We are extremely grateful for the time and interest that you have put forth in helping children learn the importance of safety. We extend our deepest appreciation and are very proud of you. And it had the date, and of course then it had it said founder and president, and then I signed my name to a lot of these by hand too. So that was for graduation. This was for the instructor, and then we had one for the appreciation, which went to, and you can see how I used to sign my name, and this went to people who, for the media or people who donated or anything of that type. Appreciation certificate. Your personal commitment of dedication and interest in our vitally important program is deeply appreciated. Only through individuals like you who believe in the necessity of preschool early childhood safety education can Safety Town be possible for our precious children. There is no greater reward you could receive than knowing that because of your outstanding efforts, many children will be spared needless accidents and parents needless pain, grief, sorrow, and expense. We extend our deepest gratitude to you. Okay? Now, this, we have seen this before. This should go with another this is the one that Safety Town is all about. That goes in a file for later on. July 17th, 1975. You are cordially invited to attend the opening day ceremonies of the Buckeye Woodland Safety Town, located at St. Benedict School, 10613 Lamontier. Wow, was this a project? Now, we were able with Ken Kovach, was involved with the Buckeye Woodland Congress. And this lady, Mrs. Elizabeth Brakovich, contacted me. She was very, very concerned about safety. She wanted to do something for the community. And she told me, I was under the impression that the Buckeye Woodland Congress was sponsoring the Safety Town program. But to make a very long story short, she went ahead and she organized. I helped her a little bit, but she went out and got plastic plants from the local florist. She had everything. She did everything by the book. Came out to the house a couple times, went with me, met with me. Had some very unusual sayings. We were sitting at the table talking one time about a very important meeting, and then just said, "Excuse me, I've got to go up and I've got to go to the bathroom," but didn't say bathroom, used some other words. And it just completely different type of woman, but as I said, her heart was in the right place and she wanted to help the kids. So what I did, I was so excited because this was the first big one we were going to do in Cleveland. The one that Roland Kreitzberg did was a smaller version, but this was the actual 2 hours. His was a one-day session in the schools. This was the 2-hour program right in the city, in inner city. Okay, so I put together a nice pamphlet. Buckeye Woodland Safety Town did all this for her, nicely, printed it for her and everything. The National Safety Town Center wishes to extend its congratulations to Elizabeth and Barbara Gibson, who I guess helped her. She just told me a little bit. We had the national anthem, we had the guest, and I even arranged, I brought in, at our expense, Clancy from Mansfield to do his magic tricks. I arranged with Marge Banks from WWS and Alan Davis. I think he was also with WWS, I'm not sure. But the two of them came out and did television coverage with it. It was absolutely fabulous. And on the back we listed all the people who supported her and gave her donations. Bayreuth Market, Bloom Brothers Supplies, Buckeye Development, Orban Flowers, Pick and Pay, and so forth. But this lady she was so funny, she probably never just had a lot of attention given to her. When I got there for opening day, she had bought herself a dozen roses and said to me, "Would you give me these roses during the presentation?" And I said, "Sure, I'd be delighted to." And I felt badly that I hadn't even thought of that, but she just wanted to get attention, and she, well deserved, because she deserved it. But we ran into some problems later with her because she just got too overpowering and was trying to teach the classes, and I guess frightening, didn't have any training in working with children, not the way that I wanted them to be. She was yelling at children for not coloring within the lines and different things, and we had complaints from parents in the local communities, and we finally had to go out there and talk to her. And that's when I found out Kevin Kovach. I invited Kevin Kovach to come to the meeting, and he wasn't really, he didn't know all this was was going on, all these transactions. He said, I guess he had talked to her, but didn't know he was a sponsoring organization. So then we had also there the Cleveland JCs, because I thought they would take it over. And we had a meeting at her house. She was very nice, made some cookies and things. When I left there, the JCs told me outside that they would not have anything to do with the program as long as she was in control, because she was just too controlling and did not have an open mind about things, that they'd be the sponsoring organization, she could work for them, but it was very confusing. Anyway, when I got home, I don't know if this is on tape number 1 or not, when I got home, I got a phone call from her, and she said, I wish I could remember her exact words, but she said, you leave me alone, I'm going to do the program here the way I want to do it, or I'm going to put a 38 to your head. And I was just taken back. I thought, this lady's got to be insane. Something's got to be wrong with her. So I left her alone. I was afraid for a while. I knew she knew where I lived, and I was a little concerned. So I sort of kept my eyes and ears open and closed doors real tightly and so forth. But eventually the program did close down because the parents just did not approve of the way it was being handled. Okay? Some of the unexpected things that happened. All right. This is a letter to our local people in Ohio explaining that they're going to get their free coloring book. Therefore, if you wish to purchase a Safety Town kit, the cost is 25 cents for the balloon and the bumper sticker, because the coloring book was free at that time. Okay, you heard that before. Okay, and this is a consignment sheet that you saw before. And along with the consignment sheet that we sent, okay, now this one we did a little differently. No, this is an older one. Okay, that one goes there. How you can raise money for your Safety Town, or how you can raise funds by selling materials for your Safety Town. And we gave them all kinds of selling sizes of the buildings on the Safety Town cars. Everything we possibly could, we put on there for them. And this is July 28, 1975. T-shirts. Having just talked with Champion Representative Mr. David Jensen, I want to immediately pass on the information I was just given regarding the status of our shirts and why the delay. Did we have problems with T-shirts in the early years? Unbelievable. Mr. Jensen informed me that T-shirts would arrive at National Safety Town Center on Friday, August 1st, which indeed made me very unhappy, as we were told they would arrive 5 days earlier. The reorders would only take 5 days. This took several months. Mainly it was due to the economic situation of our country. Here's how. During the first 6 months of the year, due to the financial difficulties that every business corporation faced, companies did not place orders for T-shirts. Since many companies operate their fiscal year from July to July, these companies did not place their orders until the end of June. So we got involved in all kinds of problems with manufacturers and so forth. Now, believe it or not, One year, I can't recall what year it was. I think it was probably in later years, maybe in the late 70s. I had to drive from Cleveland, I think it was Memphis, Tennessee. It was over 900 miles round trip. I did that in one day. Left early in the morning and came back. This was on a Thursday, so early Friday morning I could take the T-shirts and deliver them to the safety towns in Greater Cleveland that were waiting for them. When I got down to the mill down in Tennessee, I even took the T-shirts out of the boxes and wrapped them up and stuffed them in every part of the car that I could possibly stuff them. The car was just loaded. I mean, loaded with shirts, front seats, back seats, in the trunk, where we could put boxes, fine, but if, you have square boxes and there's room here, I would take it out and I'd had some brown paper and I'd wrap up some shirts and put them in there, or I'd put them in a plastic bag. It was just unbelievable, the problems that we had with the T-shirts. Unreal. Okay, I'm going to stop right now and take a break for lunch, and we'll come back and finish from there. Okay, we're back after lunch. Had a nice lunch, my broccoli and carrots and some smoked salmon and all that good stuff. Now, you'll notice I changed and put a different outfit on, because this is the outfit. Remember, these are all add-ins now. And this is the outfit I checked back, and this is the outfit I wore during this from 75 on or something, so we can splice it together so it'll look like it was all coordinated. Okay, now, remember this? It's the Safety Town booklet, and you open it up and it says, what is Safety Town? Then you open it up again and it says, oh, there's another page of lots of pictures, okay? Which included, by the way, I have to say here, let me show you. Okay, these were all different pictures of, the actual town, of the kids itself. I was looking to see if there's any pictures of our daughters or people in there that I know, but they're too small for you to recognize. Okay, so the first one we did had the Highway Safety Foundation on the back. When that dissolved, we had the National Safety Town Center Terminal Tower, because that's where I thought would be the home. And as I discussed before, this did not work out too well. I think we were there a matter of maybe 2 years at the most. I'd have to check on that. So then we had to move again. That's when we moved out to Solon. And then we decided we were just going to keep a post office box on it. Same booklet, but that way we wouldn't have to keep getting it printed and reprinted and changing plates and that kind of expense. Now, this is an old one when we had our 2486 number, and then we had to change it to our new number when we moved to Beechwood. But these are just some of the problems that we had to encounter going through all this. Now, some people with the post office box were a little unhappy with it because they said people aren't going to think it's a reputable and what do I want to say, a long-lasting type organization rather than a fly-by-night type when you use a post office box. But since we were working mainly out of our house, we had the little office in Solon that was mainly a storage facility. But as far as the typing and all, I did out of the house and out of our apartment after we sold the house and moved in the apartment for a few years. So I didn't... we couldn't see putting a home address on it, so that's why I used the post office box. And we just told people it was easier that way. And then later on our stationery, we listed both the P.O. box as the mailing address, and then listed our executive offices as in Beechwood. But that we didn't do all at one time. That took a while to do. Okay, here's a sheet of paper I found. This was to-do book. I always wrote all kinds of to-do books. I know I have piles of these at home yet. This was to do for a daily, the week of September 22nd, 1975. I was having a luncheon, and I was meeting with Joanne Selznick regarding Safety Town. In the afternoon, I was working on correspondence, and then I had to call Frank Rusnick and Barbara Gibson and so forth and so on, but kept a detailed report of it's mainly in those yearly calendars, but this one just happened to be loose. Found that one. Okay, this is a letter. Remember I mentioned Carolyn Wilson did some work for me. I think she worked, I don't know if it was 6 months or not. I'm not really sure how long she worked for me when we were at the terminal. I wish I could find a picture of her, maybe somewhere I have one. Very attractive girl, pretty girl. Did a little bit of work in publicity, and could speak with people nicely, but again, wasn't a top go-getter as far as going and getting promotions. And her idea of publicity was writing news releases, in which a lot of PR people think it is, sitting and writing news releases and doing newsletters and things of that type. And that's not what I wanted. I wanted public relations, someone who could go to a Joe Vecchione, public relations of Prudential, and work out a promotion that we could do on a national level. Those were the things. Those are probably marketing people as well, but that's what I was looking for. All right, this is a letter she wrote to me, and there's no date on it, but she left this on her desk when she went to lunch. Evidently, we talked about this before, but she was so upset about this, she just had to leave me a note. Dorothy, the letters on the chair are requests from Women's Day articles, a letter to Tom and Father around the table, so this had to be 74. 74 and 75. List of safety towns. No, 74 is when we moved into Terminal Tower. Right, okay. List of safety towns is on the floor. I couldn't find Russell Lloyd's letter and so forth. Okay. I called the newspapers and asked. They said that sent a tear sheet. I had forgotten to do that before. Dorothy, I promised to be back on Monday, September 9th. I may be in before then. I may be here when you get here Tuesday. I just don't know. Right now, I feel like going to Grandma's to stay for a while. It's so nice and quiet there. No phones to answer, people to see. I run into Charlie's friends or look at something that reminds me of him, and right now it's really upsetting me. I remember every minute of those last few days he was alive, starting with last night. I don't remember. I know she had some problem of, as I said earlier, I thought somebody trying to break in her apartment or something, but I don't recall what this was around, whether he was killed or whatever, but I don't know if it was a boy she was dating or what. I don't think it was her husband. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I'll be in touch. I've got the letters you gave me to catch up on. Even if I'm gone, I'll do those. Thank you, Carolyn. So, everybody had their problems, and she meant well, and I think she eventually just moved out of town, and that's why we lost her. Okay. October 20th, 1975. Dear Safety Town friend, please accept my apologies. Boy, did we send that out an awful lot for the delay in sending your certificates and T-shirts, which I hope you received recently. Okay. Okay, I know you often hear this from your parents, but I also want to encourage you to have fun at school and work hard at your studies. Okay, it's my hope that you will include being a Safe Town instructor into your summer plans again next year. Oh, this is, we gave them a certificate and their T-shirts for when they were working on the National Safety Town Week information, so that should go into the National Safety Town Week file. Okay, found out where that goes. November 28th, 1975. Usually in November, the Safety Town Council, remember we were called that for a long time, meets for its annual fall meeting for the purpose of Safety Town personnel to discuss successful and unsuccessful aspects of their individual programs. Due to a very heavy schedule, this meeting will not be held until January 8th at the boardroom of the Cleveland Automobile Club. Mr. Tewksbury was sent on a notice within the next few weeks. As most of you know, I have served as your chairman since 1968 when I organized the council. Now, due to my increasing responsibility with the National Safety Town Center, I must resign as your chairman. I cannot continue to devote the necessary time that I have in the past, which is required to effectively fulfill all duties entailed with this position. As you have heard me say very often, I am equally concerned about the safety of children in Bedford, Westlake, as I am in San Francisco and Atlanta. Because of this concern, I must concentrate the majority of my efforts in the areas where safety towns do not exist. For my main concern is promoting and organizing the program, and organizing workshops, and discussing meetings with the personnel. Once these are accomplished, they become self-sustaining within the local community. Now we have proven the importance, necessity, and success of both the program and the workshops in Northeastern Ohio. My concern is doing an equally successful job throughout the country. I used to write some really nice letters. That's because I lived it every minute. Much groundwork had already been laid. I know there are people throughout the country just like you who believe in Safety Town and will devote the necessary time and effort to make it a success in their town, just as you did. It is often said progress is only made by moving forward, not back. However, I feel progress is made only by looking back to analyze the past and eliminate the mistakes and adjust to future needs. That's a nice saying, isn't it? Whichever you believe, I hope you will bear with me for a few seconds while I do look back to just 3 of our major accomplishments. In 1968, in Northeast Ohio, there were 10 safety towns. In 1975, there were 37. Okay. Number 2, organized and held our first Safety Town Council meeting in 1968. Organized and held our first Safety Town workshop in 1971. Okay. How was this achieved? With the help of many, many people, of course. You can organize and do things, but the people have to attend and they have to help register and do all kinds of nice things that are important. Okay, only by working together can we be successful. You people are the main reason for its success. For had you not believed in our product, and that's what I referred to it, our product, you would not have organized a safety town within your local community. Yes, I did a tremendous amount of traveling throughout Northeastern Ohio, making numerous presentations to local communities, training personnel and teenagers. But I was a salesperson selling a product, and you had to decide whether it was worth buying. The best product and the best salespeople cannot be successful unless the people react favorably. I should have been a salesman. I guess I was a salesman. I must also give credit to the various forms of the news media who have been so willing to assist me throughout the years, especially in those early years, mid and late 60s, when preschool safety education was virtually unheard of. It indeed took courage on the part of the radio, TV directors, and newspaper editors to give Safety Town time and space. Of all the events, I must say the first workshop personally gave me the biggest reward. Without a doubt, it was the most challenging. After sending out my first letter, I did not receive one response, then quickly changing the approach, over 100 people attended. I can't remember what the changing the approach was. I'm going to have to look that up. I would be lying if I said it has all been very enjoyable, because many of you know it hasn't. Many blocks were thrown in the path that had to be overcome, but determination, perseverance, knowledge, and working together always ends up a winner. And that's where, and that we were. Not sure I like that sentence, but okay. Or the end of the sentence, at least. Well, enough of looking back and reminiscing, but I do want to express my deepest, most heartfelt thanks and appreciation to all of you for the cooperation and assistance you had given me through the years. It has indeed been a delightful pleasure to work with you, and I will always cherish our friendship. Now back to business. As you know, the Cleveland Automobile Club has hosted the fall meetings in providing us their boardroom and those delicious lunches. In a recent meeting I had with Mr. Tewksbury, he informed me the club plans to continue the policy. At our meeting on January 8th, you will elect a new chairman to serve for a period of years that you will decide upon. Mr. Tewksbury, representing the Cleveland Automobile Club, and myself will serve as advisory committee to assist you whenever possible. Also, we discussed the spring workshop, which we tentatively set for May 14th. Okay, Mr. Bobadere, Mr. Tewksbury, in addition to safety, Mr. Bobadere, feels it would be participate more in the future. Okay, due to the Cleveland Automobile Club's guidelines, the fall meetings and workshops will include only those safety towns within their boundaries: Cuyahoga, Lorraine, Jogga, Lake, and Portage. Okay. P.S. I am sure you recently read or heard about the very tragic news about the deaths of Sergeant William Prohaska of Bedford Heights. I had the honor of working with Bill for several years as he was our police officer at Bedford Safety Town. He was a tremendous man who, like so many of our police officers, worked at Safety Town on his own time just because he loved children and was concerned about their welfare. A fund has been established for his family at the Parkview Savings. Should you wish to send a donation directly to Parkview, I know the family would be very deeply grateful. My husband and I are donating $50 in the name of the National Safety Town Center. Bill Prohaska was really just a super person, and he was, there was a robbery in Bedford Heights at a paint store or something, and he was leaving it had happened a few days prior, and one day he was leaving, and I think the chief asked him, or he said he was going to stop by the paint company to see if they had any leads or whatever, and as he walked in the paint company, there was no one there, so he opened the back door, another room, I guess a back room, the back door leading to another room, and he was not aware that they were robbing him the second time, and they were all in that room, and they shot him dead. Very, very, very tragic story. What a loss. Okay. That's just another copy of that. I made some extra copies so I would always have those. By the way, the Safety Town Council never, since we're now an organization and we were doing the workshops, the Safety Town Council just dissolved, and the people felt that meeting at the workshops as we did, that the center would take over completely and just sponsor the workshops on their own. So the National Safe Town Center, as of 1976, I believe it was, did the center, and then we still worked with organizations. We invited the Cleveland Automobile Club to come and speak for about 20 minutes or 25 minutes, telling us what videos and what movies they had to give out. The same thing with the American Red Cross, the same thing with the Poison Control Center. So we had all the different speakers come, but we, the National Safe Town Center, was the sponsoring organization, the sponsoring group of the seminars. Okay. December 2nd, 1975. Dear safety friend, the National Safe Town Center is proud to announce that the Cleveland JCs will sponsor a program in the city of Cleveland for preschool children. To allow the JCs to explain their plans, the center is sponsoring a luncheon meeting on Thursday, December 18th at noon in the Ontario room of Higbie's 10th floor. We are looking forward to seeing you at that time to discuss the necessity of this very important program. So you can see how desperately and how long we tried to get Cleveland to have a safety town, as we know him. Chuck Livingston is coming in from Washington next Tuesday. He is going to be a speaker for the annual meeting of the Greater Cleveland Safety Council. He is assistant to Joan Claybrook for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Washington, D.C. With the interest of motorcycle helmets and the gasoline situation, we thought you might be interested in having him on Morning Exchange. If interested, please call after 3 p.m. and so forth. And I sent this to WEWS. I had known Chuck Livingston, having been in Washington. I can't remember what year this was, but since I was on the Board of Controls with the Greater Cleveland Safety Council, and at one of our meetings with the Greater Cleveland Safety Council, they discussed having speakers, and when they talked about the motorcycle helmets and gasoline situation and so forth, I suggested they bring in Chuck Livingston. I went to the airport and I met him, and no one, it's unbelievable, because some of these people, I said, is anyone who's going to pick him up at the airport? And they said, well, we'll give him directions, or you can take a cab. And I thought that was always so cold, because I can remember when I traveled and people met me at the airport, whether it was in Grafton, Wisconsin, or New York, or whatever. It was just so nice to have someone meet you there and take that pressure off of, am I going to take the right cab? Am I going to get to the right place? And just feel much more welcome. So I always did that for any of the people, any of my people, and in this particular situation for Chuck Livingston. So that was a nice event. And he was a very nice man. Okay, here, I'm not sure what year this is, but these are, again, we tried different approaches for fundraising. I think we spent more money on trying to do this than the money we ever got in from them. Did you know? And of course, this is Xerox, so we set them out with colored, a red logo and so forth. Did you know accidents kill more children than 1 to 14 age group than next 6 causes combined? Accidents cause more than all causes combined between ages of 15 and 24. Accidents are the leading cause of death between ages 1 and 38. Okay, so many young people lose their lives or have a serious injury. Even a minor injury is painful. That just maybe could have been avoided had they had proper safety education, and so forth. Some of these young people just maybe could have been the world's greatest piano player, world's greatest baseball player, or the world's greatest heart surgeon, but never had the opportunity due to a needless accident. You can help us reduce these horrible statistics and waste of human life by enclosing a check in the attached self-addressed envelope, and so forth. Really, I was really creative in putting a lot of these things together. Unreal. Okay, I think I'm enjoying this more. I can't say enjoying more now. Yeah, I'm sure I am. I don't have to do the work, but I'm enjoying going back and reflecting on some of this, because so much of this happened so fast that I don't think I realized. I know I didn't realize how much we were accomplishing and how much I was doing, and now I can just sort of sit back and enjoy the fruits of my labor, I guess, so to speak. March 6, 1976. Dear Safety Town friend. Several months ago, or in some cases just recently, you received a complimentary packet containing our 6 guidebooks, promotional stop sign, and various printed information. We sincerely hope you have started the ball rolling within your community to organize this very important program. And we know many details and hours involved in organizing and conducting a successful safety town, and want to make the details and hours as easy as possible for you. Therefore, we have prepared many items to make your job easier. These items are pictured and explained in the enclosed pamphlet. All items are now available with the exception of the Think Safety and Instructor shirts, will be ready for delivery May 1st. And the game will be available on June 1st, 1976. The spring edition of the newsletter will be mailed on that last week of May. The Think Safety shirts and the games can be purchased in one of 3 ways. The parents can purchase them, you include them in the registration fee, or have local organizations absorb them. So that is what we did with the consignment, and let me see if I have, here's the pamphlet. Oh, this pamphlet goes with it. This was the enclosed pamphlet. Now, I think Prudential did this first pamphlet for us. I'm almost positive. I couldn't find the date in there, but that's and this is what they sent back. They checked off what they wanted and then put the check right inside. They just put how many promotional kits, how much stationery, and how much they wanted in there. Okay. There's the balloons, the books, the cars, which we had, remember, and I told you we had to discontinue them. Here's the game, and there's those 3 red certificates, Clancy posters, and the newsletter, and the shirt. Very nice job. That was very nice. Okay. This goes with this. This is a carbon copy. I used to make all kinds of carbon copies. Another one of this. Another one of this. Lots of copies of this. Excuse me. Several months, several months, several months. Okay. Okay, March 26th, when was this? March 18th. March 26th to local safety towns. Local Ohio Safety Town Directors. A free coloring book will be given to each child attending Safe Town, Ohio, courtesy of Westville Companies. Okay, Mr. Arthur Daniker was Vice President, Public Relations of Westville, and he was very nice. He was, I think one of the reasons I got to work with him is that he knew about the Highway Safety Foundation and situation, and was just very nice and printed our coloring books for us. Okay, so we sent this out to them and telling them that we were able to make this arrangement with Westville, and that was in 1976. I can't remember. We sent them out free for many years, and then we started to charge a small fee just for the shipping cost, because that was expensive. And as of about maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I would say roughly about 1990, Westville informed us that they could only absorb half the print cost. So we had absorbed the other half. And that's why I think we now are charging like 75 cents a coloring book for the printing of the coloring book, and also for the shipping and handling of it. But that's 1976, and this is 1998. We've been with them 22 years. Of course, I gave them in the office on the wall. There's a very nice picture of a real nice plaque that I gave Mr. Arthur Daniker. Of course, he's no longer there. We're working with different people. Nice organization. This is from the Saskatchewan Safety Council in Canada. Dear Madam, we are interested in obtaining the packet of 6 guide books explaining the Safe Town at your earliest convenience. So we were still giving them free, and I goofed here. I was supposed to put this up. I can do that. Okay. May 26th, 1976. This is, okay. Dear Safe Town friend, during my 3 weeks of traveling with our workshops, I had the opportunity and delightful pleasure to meet many new Safety Town friends like you who believe in the importance. On behalf of our Board of Directors, staff, and District Directors, I would like to extend our sincere thank you for participating in our workshops. Your presentation indeed helped in making our workshop a success. Okay, now you know where that goes. That's going to go in the workshop file. But we didn't know that at the time, but it's going to go there now. Dear car friend, oh, I'm even afraid to look at this. Remember the little trouble we had with those little cars. Let me see if this is all basically the same. It looks like a couple of copies, and that's what it is. It's a lot of copies of the same thing, I think. Yep. Okay, that one's different. We'll keep that one out. Okay, these are all the same. Dear car friend, and I have car in parentheses. Remember how you felt the first time you purchased that beautiful dress you just fell in love with, or that handsome-looking suit that you were sure was the only one of its kind, or the excitement of your first brand new car? They used to write letters in the early days like this. Business letters are much different today. Thank heavens, they're very short and to the point. Great feeling, wasn't it? Can you also remember that terrible, angry disappointment, hurt, frustrated, and how upset you were when you saw your beautiful new dress on sale for 1/2 of what you paid for it, or that one-of-a-kind suit was not only advertised at the local discount store you purchased yours in New York, an exclusive store, but everyone was wearing one? Somehow that excitement no longer existed when that brand new car needed a battery change every time to get started. You guessed it, that's exactly how I feel about our car situation. First, the tremendous excitement to find a car way back in the fall of 1975 with rubber front and back wheels for long wear and tear, approved by Consumer Product Safety Commission as a safe toy vehicle, a reliable, friendly manufacturer, Then, after several orders had been placed by you nice people in late winter, we were informed of a strike at the plant during the early months of '76, but assured by the manufacturer's representative that the strike would surely be over soon. In April, we were informed that the strike settlement did not look promising and our orders would not be able to be shipped. Since you nice people were waiting patiently and were so understanding when I called or wrote explaining our situation, we had to immediately find you another car, especially since time was getting near to several of your opening dates. In fact, 2 of your programs started without cars. Here then is what I did. 1, went to Toy Center in New York. 2, spent 1 entire day covering 14 floors trying to find a suitable replacement because of the large market on plastic vehicle manufacturers who were making rubber wheel cars discontinued because they could not compete with the low cost of plastic competitors. Therefore, I could not find rubber wheel replacements. Okay, we talked about this a little bit earlier, remember? After hours and hours of searching and a weary body and tired feet, I said how tired my poor feet were, I discovered and decided upon the car by Empire as being suitable for our purpose in filling our requirements. This company would not drop ship the cars to you directly. Consequently, it had to be shipped to one location, the center. I was informed that shipping charges from North Carolina to Ohio would be approximately 50 cents per car. When they arrived, the cost was $3.50 per car. You can imagine how excited I was about that. That $3.15 included our people unloading them. Arrangements then had to be made to have new name tags and tape put on your boxes, then paying one of our boys to load them up on the truck, take them 20 miles to UPS for shipment to you. To make a very long story short, here is how we arrived at the $22 price you were charged. The cost of the car was $12. Shipping was $7 per car. It was shipped to New York, from North Carolina to us, and then from us to wherever. Labels were 50 cents per car. The travel expense of our people traveling back and forth, because they were paid not by the hour, but they were just paid expenses, came to $2. Okay, so that's how it came to $22. Needless to say, when we discovered this same car was available locally and for much less, we were irate over the fact that we had spent so much time going to New York and money and had not been informed that this car was going to be available locally. It would have been much easier and cheaper for both of us to simply send you a picture and a letter about the car and told you where you could have purchased them locally. To sum up the situation, we were and still are unhappy about the entire deal, especially about the inconvenience caused many of you by the delay plus the unnecessary expense. Unfortunately, we cannot reimburse you financially since you can see from the above breakdown the money had to be spent. However, we would like to express our appreciation for you being so very patient and understanding by sending you 1 game free for each car you purchased. In turn, you can sell or use the game as follows. So, can you understand why we couldn't even make any money on these things? I mean, everything possible that could have happened to us after that Highway Safety Foundation. This was just unreal. And it could have been so easy. Okay. So, let me read that again, okay? So we're going to send you 1 free game for each car you purchased. Wow. Okay, I'm back. Answered the phone. It was Nancy from the office. She's sending out the package to Christine Barr in Pewaukee, Wisconsin, and sending me some community involvement pamphlets and books and things that I need out here. So I can still work here and have people there in the office. Thank you, Nancy, for helping. Great deal. And taking care of my nice little plants. When I get back, they'll all be nice and green. She said the weather today there was about 50 degrees and sunny. So if it stays warmer and has an early spring, maybe we'll get back at the end of March instead of 1st of April. Maybe. Depends on the weather conditions. Okay, let me finish this wonderful letter about this car situation. Okay, can't believe it. I don't know how many cars we sold, but we probably gave away 100 or so games. Unbelievable. And the games we sold for, I don't know what we were selling. This was in 76. I think we were selling them for, because Prudential made them for us. So it wasn't really costing us anything. Except if we sold them, we could have made money. And that's, but our people weren't happy because they had to pay $10 more. Okay. Let's see here. We gave them what they can do with the games. Is some communities can charge an additional 50 cents or $1 to the games and sell them for birthday presents and so forth. And some communities are just charging, it was $5 a game, it says here. And some communities obtaining a sponsor for the games and putting their name on. So we gave them all kinds of options. But that was our unbelievable car situation. And I'm going to take one of these out because this is priceless and it belongs in our national file. The other ones can go in our car file. Okay. Now this one doesn't have a date on it, but it says, "Dear Patient Safety Town Car Friend, after many frustrating problems, strikes, finding a new car, here finally are your cars. We thank you so very much for being understanding. The National Safety Town sticker that is to be placed on the front wheel bar," remember that one I showed, the long one, "will be sent to you in approximately 1 week. We couldn't get everything working together, I'll tell you. Important note, on the 2 back wheels on the inside there are clickers. It is a simple piece of plastic that makes a clicking sound. We recommend you remove the clicker before assembling the car. Your teacher and police officer will probably quit after the first day from the clicking noise. Again, thank you for your patience, for being patient and understanding. Do not use the hot cycle sticker on the front wheel bar. That is where our National Safety Town sticker goes." Okay. This is a copy of that. That was in what was the year of that? July 1976. Okay, it was about, I don't have the exact date, but I can check in the file from our Bill Cosby file. Bill Cosby officially agreed to be our honorary chairman in 1976. And this was the first picture that we received from him, from his office. Or I don't know if we received this. I think they gave this to us when Frank and I went out there to meet with them in California. But that's a great picture. Really super picture of him. Okay. I'm going to put this on here because that's going to go with the other one. September 17th, 1976, to Assistant State Directors, District Directors, and Assistant District Directors. Now, I know there are files of folders in the office on materials that we sent to the state directors and all. So this will probably include it with that, but for right now, we're going to put this here. With many thanks to the Prudential Insurance Company of America, National Safety Town Center is having a full-fledged convention in Cleveland on November 5th, 6th, 7th, 1976. Prudential has graciously provided funds to bring all state directors to the Sheraton Cleveland Hotel. The center wishes we could pay for every one of you to attend, but finances are not available at this time. However, we very much would like to have you in attendance. We indeed realize the expense involved, but are very hopeful that somehow you can make the necessary arrangements. There will be many informative meetings, distribution of your name cards, carrying cases presented, presentations of your official certificates, pictures taken for future publicity in your area in the newsletter, plus fun activities. What a great way to exchange ideas with people from across the country. 21 state directors have been invited, including our 2 most recent appointed directors from California and Alaska. Here's a suggestion as how you can attend very inexpensively. Contact your state director for the possibility of traveling with him or her. Since their travel expenses are paid, they might be willing to share the car. they do have an option of flying or driving, or contact other district or assistant directors to see if they want to share travel and room expenses. Now remember, the state directors were paid for. The 20, what did I say, 20 of them? Or 21, something like that? 21. And this letter was going to the assistant state directors, district directors, and assistant district directors, okay? We are pleased that Prudential, with Prudential support, and so forth. Stop, look, listen before you cross the street. And in Cleveland on November 5th, I do hope we meet for safety's sake. And this was written by Nancy Zabchek. And it says, P.S. Your husband and wife is cordially invited to attend all the meetings and activities. Now, Nancy Zabchek, I can't remember how we, whether I put an ad in the newspaper for some additional help, or whether she at a meeting was just interested. She had done some public relations and publicity, and was a very outgoing gal. But unfortunately, with anyone who's very talented, because they attended meetings for me with the Greater Cleveland Growth Association, met a lot of business people. That's how Pamela Zavansky got her job at the television station. She was offered more money. Can't blame them for that. And Nancy was offered a very good job in public relations for one of the large department stores at Randall Mall at that time. So that's how we lost her. Okay, September 24th, 1976. Dear directors, you very nice people have been promoting our program and items, and needless to say, we're proud of you and grateful. Now that our organization's foundation has been firmly built, we feel it is time to officially inform the public of your serving as our representative. Okay, attaches an official formal news release that we'd like you to send to major newspapers. Okay, and then it says news release, name state director, and so forth. Okay, we prepared that all. We prepared that all for them. That was in September of 24th. This was before they were coming to Cleveland. We sent them an announcement. We wanted this to go out, that they were our state directors and that they would be attending a conference in Cleveland in November. And then that was followed up with a picture of them getting their certificate from Prudential and so forth. Okay? Did a lot of good PR publicity. October 1st, 1976. Dear PSA Director, enclosed, please find 2 news releases, one regarding the appointment of our director for your state and one containing information about our program. Okay? And this we sent to the various newspapers in their communities. We looked that up in the phone book, and not in the phone book, in the library, I can't think of the name of there's a book that had all the newspapers and TV things and everything printed. Okay, that is empty stationery. Oh, I guess I was supposed to show you that again. We always updated the for anybody who's going into business, if you're watching this and you're planning a business and doing, please do me a favor. Anything you do, very small, now on the computer you can write, put the date in the corner. If you don't want it on the front side, put it on the back, 1-29, whatever it is, 98, so you know, because we don't have dates. I have no idea when these coordinators were with me, whether it was 76, 75, 78. I would have to go back and look, because we had to constantly change them. Not constantly, but we did have to change them, I should say. This appeared 6/30/76. I think, yeah, that's when this was. We had Clancy attend a lot of the local communities. He did charge a fee. But then after a while, we just got too involved and we had to discontinue. Again, I wish we could have made the movies with Clancy, because that would have been great. And this is an article that appeared in the Reporter in August 12, 1976. And this is, of course, the Reporter was in South Plainfield, New Jersey. Okay, here's first the opening day of what was July 11th on the opening. And then they came back from the newspaper and did a nice little story on them. Okay, as I said, we'll have a publicity video and also have a video with all the local safety towns, but these I just interject once in a while to, I guess, just remind myself and to inform you that while we were going through all these things with the organization, we still had to take care of our everyday business with our local programs. August 3rd, 1976, again, a nice article on the, 2 articles on the South Plainfield. And this, we saw again, I'll put this another, this is our consignment form. We've got another one of those somewhere else. Okay, well, let me just read this here. On this date, I received from the center the following on consignment. I hereby agree to send money for all items sold and returned to the National Safety Town Center prior to I accept responsibility for items and money involved. Items counted at National Center, we had to count them, we signed it, and then they had to put their name in that they received it. On this date, they received it. Okay? And again, how you can raise funds by selling the items and selling the buildings and selling, advertising on the buildings and selling on the cars to help our people. Okay, we don't need that. Now what is this? This is 1976. Let's see which order this goes in. Okay, January. Okay, this one goes, I changed this one to make it easier. This is our Board of Trustees. Remember I said in 1974 we had to get the minimum amount of 3 and then we went to 5. Then we had to increase to 7. So we asked Bill Miller. First one was Frank, myself, and Herb Hoppy. Then we added Marv Wagner and Dr. Brown. Dr. Brown from the educational, Marv Wagner from the safety and the governmental aspect, and he had national recognition, international recognition, because he had written articles on alcohol and driving for other countries as well. So then we included William Miller, who was the safety director of Goodyear from a corporate standpoint, and then we also added Frank Herring from the Montgomery County school system. Okay, now, dear Bill Miller, on behalf of our board of directors and everyone affiliated, may I say how very pleased we are that you accepted to be a trustee of our organization. Okay. He was great. And the same basic letter to Mr. Herring on March 20, 1976. March 25th, I sent a letter to Dr. Brown, as I did all board members. Just informing them, keeping them up to date of what we were doing on our seminar workshops. And this one I said, let's see, okay, both to Marv and to Dr. Brown, enclosed are 2 folders I thought you might be interested. We have sent out over 2,000 packets. Glad both my girls have boyfriends. They all help tremendously in folding and stuffing envelopes. What is your reaction to the folder? Isn't it nice to see our things being professionally done instead of having them Xeroxed, to having everything Xeroxed? Oh, that was painful. I'm very sorry I could not meet with you personally last time I was in Washington, but that was one of my worst trips I had ever taken. I just had too many things planned in too short of a time. I ended up driving in the night to be on schedule. I had a very important meeting on April 21st. I have a very important meeting on April 21st with Prudential regarding the possibility of making our 10 Clancy films. They are picking up my expenses and even making me some visual aids for my presentation. please do not say anything about this to anyone. Maybe I'm superstitious. I just don't want any problems to arise. I've been burnt too many times in the past by being a good kid and telling my plans and ideas, and then have someone else profit from those ideas and plans. Does that sound familiar? Hope you and your family are just fine. We're all fine, and I'm certainly enjoying relaxing apartment living. That is when I have time to relax. It really is a tremendous mental relief for me, as I do not have to worry about all the upkeep that I had when we had our house. My next bi-monthly report will be sent by the end of May after our workshop tour, informing you of the results and reactions. Will you let me know the result? I will let you know the results of the prudential meeting. And please keep your fingers crossed doubled. So I try to keep them all informed. This just kept going, December 23rd, 1976, and so forth. And this